Hello, and welcome to The Franchise Life. I am your host, Stacie Shannon. Today, I am happy to introduce a brand called 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is the #1 largest HVAC service provider in the United States, with currently 375 locations nationwide. And joining me today is Michael Hutchins, Franchise Development Manager of 1 Hour, Chad Harrison, Franchise Development Representative, and Allan Peschke, Lead Development Representative. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Well, first, I must say, you guys all look dapper today.
That's very nice. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just going to dive in and say that this is a type of brand that when I talk to individuals about, well, let me just say this segment, not necessarily this brand, but maybe HVAC and so forth. This is an area where individuals really think that they have to have experience in this industry to be successful. Michael, what are your thoughts on that?
Industry experience is not a key attribute to be successful in the 1 Hour system. You know, last year we did over 30 locations. Only 4 were conversions. The other 27, 28 were entrepreneurs. They like that it's an essential service. They like the high return on investment, the relatively short ramp-up period. Key attributes for success include the ability and desire to follow the system. I mean, it's already been replicated hundreds of times across the country with 1 Hour. A key attribute would include understanding that this is about building a team, creating a culture, having all of your technicians aligned towards the same common goal. Because with 1 Hour, in essence, what you're doing is you're providing your team with the ability to run their own business within a vehicle that you provide for them. And you know, your listeners, if they're interested in 1 Hour, will not be pioneers. I support not only owner operator, but semi-absentee. Last year, I had a NASCAR pilot, someone in med school, attorneys, engineers, IT, finance, women. You know, none of these individuals, and they can learn as much as they want, but when they were researching, none of them indicated a desire that they were doing this because they wanted to get inside the truck. They want to be the CEO of a large, successful HVAC company. 1 Hour is absolutely scalable. You know, last year, in the last FDD that I can disclose, our #1 owner did over 22 million. New FDD is going to be coming out in April. That number is now in the mid-40s. So this is an industry that generates an awful lot of revenue. Most of, you know, our owners go on to have multiple territories. And even the people that convert, you know, one of my first objectives is to get them out of the truck. That's one of the things that's limiting them. They don't have the time to put into other aspects of the business. So with entrepreneurs, I don't have that challenge because they never want to get in the most part to begin with. So it's absolutely not a hindrance and actually, I think, a benefit coming in without industry experience.
Well, thank you, Michael, I just wanted to put that out there. So when people hear the brand, you know, not necessarily the brand, but the segment in the industry, that they know that they don't need prior experience. And to your point, what you're really looking for is people with those management skills, how to lead a team, communication skills, how to build a brand in their local territory and so forth.
Correct.
Excellent. So with that said, and phenomenal numbers, I must say. So I can't wait to see the new FDD when it comes out here in the next few months.
It's on fire, I'll tell you.
Amazing. Well, this is an essential service. So, that is something that really applies to individuals when they're looking for a brand. So, Chad, why don't you just give us a high-level overview of what 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is? What are the products, the services that you provide?
So 1 Hour Heating and Air is the number one HVAC residential in the U.S., franchise in the U.S. And our package comes forward with Success Academy for training, recruitment. We assist in recruitment. And just last year, Authority Brands, who owns 1 Hour Heating and Air, put in about $750,000 into the market for recruitment assisting and providing the necessary applications for our franchisees. Also on top of that, marketing. We work with Scorpions, the top 20 in the U.S. For website development. Ensure that search engine optimization, that you're at the top of the search when they're looking for service in their area for a particular HVAC company. It's the full package, and then the vendors itself, Bimax. We go through Bimax. We have pricing power there through Authority Brands. Again, back to them, a $2 billion company and just well positioned. So it is as Mike said, it's on fire, and it's just again, to your point too, Stacie, essential service and just well positioned.
And your target market or customer base is going to be the residential market. Is that correct?
Correct. We do connect with some who have the commercial side and then look to open up on the residential side. So that conversation could come a couple different ways.
Yes, to clarify on that, our core focus is the residential, homeowner. So we are going to, when someone starts off, they're going to be doing probably 75% service repair, 30% replacements. And we want them to focus on residential because they can get full retail. Commercial, absolutely they can do. And our owners do light commercial. Say their homeowner is a pastor, they own a strip mall, a restaurant, so forth. But to go after, say, home warranty work, it's low margin. You don't get paid right away. Commercial, there's a large outlay of capital to go into new construction, and you're out there several times during the construction process. Again, it's low margin. All of our marketing is directed around that homeowner, the residential consumer. That's our model. Our most successful franchisees follow the system. So again, you can in time, if you want to branch out, I have some owners that do that, but in the beginning, when people talk to me, well, I'm going to, get into this, I just want them to understand that, where we're pointing them, the 1 hour GPS, when it's saying go left, like focus on residential. You get paid right away. It's full retail. And that is, that's the secret sauce, part of the secret sauce anyway.
Yeah. So let me, okay. We've mentioned Authority Brands a couple times here, both Chad and Michael, and you have that branding right behind you, Michael. So can you take a moment and just share what Authority Brands is and what their relationship is with 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning?
Well, Authority Brands, we're going to be pushing about $2 billion in revenue this year, but we're still a baby. We're 5.5 years old. We started off with one brand, the Cleaning Authority, and we've added additional brands over the years. 1 Hour became part of the family. I think it might have been 2019, but it's been several years and we've added a few more, but they're all in the home services sector. And, our goal is to own the home, both inside and out. And, there is tremendous purchasing power. I mean, 1 Hour owners after the acquisition, because of that increase in purchasing power, discounts on the front end, rebates on the back end all increase, driving even greater profitability for our owners. There's a lot of synergies. It also gives our owners another growth strategy where, they certainly, and most of my owners have multiple territories. The model works and they just keep expanding, but they also can layer on another brand and then market, to the same homeowner for additional services. So that is also, one of the strengths of Authority Brands is that it allows, our franchisees, multiple growth strategies.
So Authority Brands is an umbrella company that owns multiple home service brands.
That's correct. And we just added another one, I think, last week. And we're going to be adding a few more, and they have to obviously be the right fit, the right culture, all those things. But we are aggressively looking for, more brands to complement the system.
But to an investor, then, the importance to the investor looking at any one of these brands, but in particular, 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, is really the buy-in power, the technology, the back-end systems, and really that financial support from an umbrella company. Would that be accurate?
There are definitely some important reasons to consider 1 Hour. But, anyone interested, in learning more about the brand, I would have them, reach out to you and you could schedule an introductory call. There's many components that make 1 Hour attractive. We have a terrific recurring revenue component. I have owners all across the country that, they're $1 million or a little more than $1 million of their total revenue is coming in just through monthly subscriptions. We have tremendous resources in helping build their teams, things that no one else in the industry even has. In addition to all of the, strengths that Authority Brands has to offer, 1 Hour has its own stable of extremely strong benefits and features just within the HVAC industry that make it the market leader and the number one residential HVAC company.
So let's talk about the subscription. So, and I don't know if this is going to hit the mark or not, but for my home in particular, I have a subscription that covers my washer and dryer and different, utilities within my house that if anything goes wrong, I can call. It's a pre-negotiated service call. Is that what you're referring to, or what do you mean by subscription?
Okay, that is what you have is a home warranty, which, sometimes when you're buying a home, it gives you kind of peace of mind. You do a home inspection and, well, your AC unit is 10 years old. Anyway, that's a home warranty, and it covers, what are they? Garbage disposals, anything like that. You have a swimming pool, you can do add-ons. What this is a service contract, and ours just happens to be called Comfort Club. And so for a monthly fee, we will come out twice a year and do an inspection on just your HVAC equipment. Change filters if need be, but really just make sure that everything is in order. So, change of season, when someone goes to flip a switch, everything is in working order. It's also, besides that recurring revenue component, it's also a way that our owners start to build a fence around their customers. If someone is paying you monthly, more than likely when they need something, they're going to contact you to come and take a look at it. So ours is more like preventative, like we're out there ensuring that something isn't going to happen, versus after the fact, you would call the home warranty company and then, they would contact someone like 1 Hour to go out and do an inspection and see, what needs to be remedied, et cetera. So, and this is, we want to build long-term relationships with our customers. And it also gives our owners the ability, then they can utilize these twice a year visits to, if there's a canceled appointment, you can plug in one of these twice a year visits, so that you keep your technicians busy. And you're really doing your customers a great service. You're helping to ensure that their homes are maintained properly. But that's what our program is called, and it's called Comfort Club. And it's simple. They pay a monthly fee. Like I said, they get those 2 service maintenance calls a year, priority placement if they have to book an appointment, and 15% off any large repair or replacement.
Okay.
And we do terrific with it. We have, well, again, anyone who wants more information, I could talk about Comfort Club in 1 hour for quite some time. So anyone who has any interest, just have them reach out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Love your enthusiasm, Michael. It shines through. So, Chad, let me bounce back to you. Okay, breaking 1 hour heating and air conditioning down. We've talked about recurring revenue stream. Michael did just talk about, the club and how that is a monthly payment and recurring revenue. Your replacement and service and repair, those are the other 2 big categories. Is that correct, Chad?
That is. And this would be Michael's cream here. So we'll let him speak to this.
Yeah, so you're absolutely correct. There's 3 revenue sources for 1 hour owners. So the recurring revenue component, and then also we provide service and repair work, as well as replacements and installations.
Okay. So what do some of those average ticket prices look like? A replacement, I would assume, would be can be a pretty significant.
It can, if you want to look at an average, the KPIs for the brand. So this is across the entire country, and we have lots of customers. Average ticket price service repair is about $350. Average replacement cost is about $7,700.
Which is great. I mean, from an investor standpoint, that's a nice average ticket item. So from an investor owner standpoint, how does 1 hour heating from a corporate level help with the products per se?
We have preferred pricing for anything that anyone would need to purchase in order to run, their business. Last year, our owners saved on average 27% on their insurance needs, but it's vehicles, equipment, parts, tools, down to tires and oil changes. Last year, 1 hour owners saved on average $2,200 a year per vehicle just on fuel because of the 1 hour fuel cards. And really the best way, just like Comfort Club, our purchasing power is a tremendous benefit resource. The best way to illustrate it is just to share an example. We conduct an analysis on a regular basis for all of our owners. The reason being, we want to make sure that our owners are taking full advantage of everything that's available to them. We just finished up one for an owner in Texas. Last year, they did $8 million in revenue. They saved $600,000. They were $600,000 more profitable buying everything they need to run their business because of their affiliation with 1 hour.
That's incredible.
And we also have our own private label products. So in addition to having warranties with better terms on brands such as Carrier, Train, Amana, etc., we also, our owners have the ability to sell 1 hour equipment, and there's benefits associated with that as well.
And how does the distribution of those products, those white label products, work?
Well, they have to purchase through us, obviously. All the other products, we set up preferred pricing with the local suppliers, and we've got contracts. That's one of the main reasons. Well, there's many, but it's an important reason why, a lot of contractors, they can't get equipment, they can't get parts, they can't get vehicles, they can't meet their customers' demands. Our supply chains were tested the last few years, but our owners are still up 30% year over year the last couple of years, adding staff, adding new territories, going into new states. So having those contracts and that purchasing power is a huge benefit for our owners. And we do all of that for them. We set that up during their 120 days of onboarding. I have an example of an owner who he converted. and he was stuck working in the vehicle, couldn't work anymore. I mean, great guy trying to take care of his family. He plugged in 1 hour pricing. It made his existing business profitable enough that he was able to go out, purchase another new vehicle and hire another technician. Now, doubling revenue practically overnight by having that other person. Now his daughter is working in the business. They are, focused on marketing, but it just, having those resources is tremendous. But following the system and taking advantage of them, is obviously just that more important than having them available to you. But, having all of that there is terrific. I mean, I think Chad and Allan, we've seen all 4 of those individuals who converted last year have already grown their business at least twofold and are still looking to keep growing. And they had been stuck for 10, 12 years. And in less than a year, their lives are changing for the better.
Well, and that's really what the franchise model is all about, right? The education, the support,
Absolutely.
the buy-in power, and so forth. So when you say conversion, these were independent business owners in the same industry that decided to become a 1 hour heating and air conditioning owner and then rebrand their existing business and take advantage of all the buy-in power, the marketing, and all of those benefits that you've been talking about.
That's correct.
That's, I hadn't really given that any thought. We talk about new territories. So let's just dive into, so the investment range for a single territory is about 91,000 to around 200,000.
Per the FDD, you are absolutely correct. But can you open a new 1 hour for 91? Yes. Is it an appropriate budget? No, it's too lean. An appropriate budget for an owner operator, single territory, 2 vehicles, leasing out about 1,000 square feet of warehouse space, ample funds for marketing, as well as 50,000 in, working capital for during your ramp up period is 150,000. And if they want to pursue this semi-absentee, and they absolutely can, everything else is the same, but you need to add an additional 85,000 to secure a solid lead tech to be the face of your business. So that initial investment would be 235,000. So, I want people to have a years of marketing in the bank, so that it's there, it's budgeted for, because I know they get off to a much quicker, the trajectory is just much greater. They get to that third vehicle much faster. Their fixed costs are covered that much more quickly, and it changes, obviously, the business dynamic. So I ask for, and I'm selective, I want people to be set up for success, and working, within those numbers. I have owners who last summer are now adding a second territory and happy and validate. They're on the other side of validation calls, and that's, where I want them to be.
So the 150 from an owner operator standpoint, that is inclusive of a year's worth of marketing?
Yes, that includes about $2,000 a month in local marketing in addition to the brand fund. So ongoing fees, since we touched on initial investment, there's 2 buckets for ongoing fees with 1 hour. First is royalty. That's 6% of your gross revenue paid back to us monthly. And the other is the brand fund, which is not a profit center. That's the marketing budget. Every dollar collected goes back out supporting all of our owners nationally, regionally, locally. In addition to that, I asked new owners to also set aside $24,000, which is part of that budget, to spend. Now, they might not spend $2,000, it might spend $1,000 1 month, but having that money and doing some local Facebook, putting a sign up on the, high school baseball outfield, something, it just is proven that their business, takes off that much more quickly.
Sure. Well, I give you credit, because one of the worst things for an investor to do is invest and be in an undercapitalized position. So, I give you guys kudos for really saying, listen, 91 truly is not enough to be successful.
I mean, you can do it. You're right. But I don't want people to be awake at night, worrying. And this way they're on the fast track. And again, I just know historically, statistically, that's what you need. So that's what I recommend.
All right. So, Chad, when somebody signs a franchise agreement, they've made the decision, they sign the franchise agreement. What does the time frame? What is the process after that from a training standpoint, and then also from a hiring standpoint, and what that employee landscape looks like?
Typically, 3 months at the soonest to be ramped up and operating. 125-day onboard training. What Michael does is once, within, say, that 7 weeks, that discovery of becoming a franchisee, Michael then will begin to work with and pass on to operations. Do you want to speak to that part, Michael?
Sure. So after someone signs their franchise agreement with me, they enter our 120-day onboarding. It's all inclusive. I call it Sure Start. Robin Wilcox heads it up for me. So as Chad mentioned, they're going to go to Phoenix for 1 week for owner's initial training. We're going to order vehicles. We're going to recruit and train the team up. We're going to establish the preferred pricing at all the local suppliers, have software systems installed, and everyone trained up on that so that at the end of that 120 days, our new owners will be out effectively servicing customers within their respective territory.
That's awesome. That's a very quick ramp up. So let me ask you this. Actually, from an owner-operator standpoint, typically the owner is going to be focused on growing the business. You don't want that owner to be the man in the van. You want those positions to be hired out. From a semi-passive ownership standpoint, I get a lot of individuals that are looking for semi-passive investments. What would a day in the life look like for a semi-passive owner?
You want me to field this one, guys? It's okay. So this is not sign a lease and disappear again. I want, and they will not be pioneers. I have many, semi-absentee owners, but again, I want them to have a solid foundation. So 235,000 single territory. Now, if they want more vehicles, it's a math equation. We can work on that, but there's a time commitment that I want them to commit to. So again, after they sign, they can go with their manager. They can go separately. I want them to go to Phoenix for a week for owners training. They're going to need to do about 5 to 6 hours of online tutorials before they go to Phoenix. Modules, 15, 20 minutes each to really just kind of be prepared so they get the most out of that experience. 3.5 days of Zoom meeting just like this on the software system. And then there's going to be follow-up in-person training, but I want them to go through that. And then Robin Wilcox, she's going to set up a weekly 1 hour, 1 day, 1 hour call for that 120 days. So I want them to participate in that. And then after the business opens, I would ask that, they can go as often as they want. They're the owners, but at a minimum, 1 day a month, when the corporate team is there, when there's team meetings, I want them to have a solid understanding of the system, know how to pull daily management reports, know what the KPIs are. Like we talked about, 350 for service, 7,700 for, replacements, so that they can effectively manage their manager. I've got Greg Ross. He opened April 2021, simultaneously launched a fitness franchise. He's in IT, loves it. Never going to leave that, but he liked 1 hour for all the reasons we spoke about. Started with 2 vehicles in a territory, hired a great manager, Chad Huddleston. Within his first year, he added a second territory and a few more vehicles. He was averaging well over 100,000 a month in revenue. And just before the holidays this past year, he wanted to add 2 more territories and, add to his team. He's putting in about 10 hours a week managing his manager. Now, that's not, I'm saying 10 is the number. I mean, I have an owner in Canada who does less than that and has 5 locations down in Miami. But Greg is, I'd say he's an involved semi-absentee owner. He knows his numbers, and he's putting in about 10 hours a week. And that's typical if you have that solid foundation.
So, I mean, I think, when I talk to people about semi-passive investments, I think, up front, you need to be willing to put in more time and then as your business solidifies at that point, then when you have momentum and a good pace, then you can start to scale back. So I think that's, what I'm hearing from you with all the training up front and so forth and understanding the systems, the KPIs and what have you. But
Absolutely.
it sounds like a great opportunity for semi-passive ownership though. So what, out of the 300 plus franchisees that you have today, what percentage would you say are semi-passive versus owner operator?
Oh, I mean, a lot of them have locations in other states. So I won't even include because they have a manager managing, like I have an owner in Texas who has about 10 territories, and he just bought 10 in Phoenix and hired a manager there. He's not going to Phoenix. I mean, that's, do you want me to include those in kind of semi-absentee, or just strictly, people that never, that just from day one never wanted to, they know how to turn the thermostat from hot to cold, and they're running a big business and they're doing something else.
Let's go with the latter.
Okay, so let's see. Let me, my memory as I'm getting older here, let's see here. Let's go back 2 years. So we got 30. Last year we had 1, 2.
You're going to give me an exact number, aren't you?
I'm trying to, I want to be, I like to set the proper expectations. So I'm just looking at, so last year we'd had 30 new locations, 9 were semi-absentee.
Awesome. Okay. Well, those are some pretty strong numbers. All right. So let's just go back to the fundamentals. Monday through Friday business, 9
Correct.
to 5. Any weekends involved, emergencies?
Well, the business is open 24/7, but owners or managers, they're there during typical business hours. We have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week call center to pick up the slack. So, owner operator, they can only talk to one customer at a time. They go home, it's 3:00 in the morning, emergency service call. 1 hour customers will never go to voicemail. They'll always speak with a live person. So that call center, which is US based, will either book the appointment or dispatch the technician on the owner's behalf.
And that is huge. I mean, not having to have somebody sit by that phone and have that support at a national level for individual locations is significant. All right, so let's go ahead and talk territory availability, because you have over 350 locations. I know that you do have some states such as Florida and Georgia that are sold out currently. What does territory availability look like throughout the United States? What are some of those hot markets?
Sure. Well, right now, California, we have signed 3 new locations in California just since the beginning of this year. Austin, Texas. I love Austin. My sister has a ranch in Dripping Springs, and she was waiting for, Houston is sold out. She wanted, when are you going to come to Austin? Austin now is on my radar. Chicago, 2 new semi-absentee owners there. We are looking, Chad and Allan have done a great job. Like we're looking in and around Detroit. We have some, a lot of activity there. Massachusetts, New York. We are looking in Utah for new opportunities, but territories are not large with 1 hour. They don't need to be. We generate a lot of revenue. We're very good at making the phone ring for our owners. They start at 100,000 population. So, even in areas where we have representation, someone may not get the zip code they want, but they can be one zip code over. So we still have, more than likely, where anyone has interest, we are going to have available territory for them, and they will benefit from those marketing dollars already being spent and the terrific brand recognition, that we have established already.
And when you say those marketing dollars that have already been spent, that's your national advertising.
National, and then also our owners. I'll just tell you, this is I love sharing examples because it's the best way. I got Thomas Smith. He was a government contractor in Iraq. We met last year, and his, starting a family, his wife didn't want him doing that any longer. And so he's, our paths crossed, and he wanted something that, a way to support his family. He liked an essential service, no background. I helped him get an SBA loan. I helped him get his license in North Carolina. I asked him to put aside $2,000 a month for local marketing. We created a brand new market together. He just showed me his report. He's only been open a little over 6 months. He's number one in every category and number two in one when you do a Google search, whether it's HVAC, heating and cooling. He is the market leader, and there have been contractors there for a decade. He's on the first page near the top of the list. He already wants to add another territory. And this is someone, again, who had no experience within the industry.
What an incredible testimonial.
So, and there's lots of, other individuals like that. But again, it's following the system is key. And you have to, don't get me wrong, you have to roll up your sleeves and work, and, you have to execute on the plan, but the roadmap is there.
So let me ask you this, and we're going to be wrapping up here, but Chad or Allan or Michael, whoever's best suited, what would you say to somebody that challenges that this is a saturated kind of market, that there's, if they go on and Google in their local market, HVAC, and a lot of competitors or local presence pops up, how do you talk someone through that to demonstrate that there is still opportunity at the local level?
I think you could definitely begin to dig into the area itself, begin to discuss the zip codes, availability, and also to mention too the fact that the strength of the brand is able to pull market share in its area from a lot of the contractors that generally surround these areas. And just speak to that, begin to discuss that, being an essential service, and then well positioned with the buying again and the marketing. You definitely find strength behind that and begin to encourage them that way to understand that, we're able to grab that market share.
No, that's a great response. So, Allan, let me turn to you real quick. You're you're in lead development. What would you say as far as when you get inquiries and so forth, what are some of those key attributes that individuals are looking for when you are first in contact with them?
Well, they're looking for a lot. I think the brand speaks for itself. I think we could also touch on that saturation aspect. It may appear saturated, but it's not saturated with a strong brand like 1 hour. Just the network that we have is nationwide. So I mean, you're not going into this alone. You have a support from a well-known company, and you know they're looking for, as we said already, the essential aspect. You know, whether it be a recession, depression, I mean, people need their houses to be cool. They need it to be warmed up. There's emergencies that happen. I mean, this business is not going anywhere. It's essential.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's a need-based business. It's not a want, right? I mean, this is not a choice. When something breaks, such as this, it needs to be fixed. So therefore, you need to rely on the experts. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, from an investment standpoint, we're looking at, regardless of what the FDD says, from an owner-operator standpoint, we're looking at about $150,000 to be well capitalized going into this business. And from a semi-passive standpoint, we would be looking at about $235,000. And as Michael had mentioned, SBA financing is available for a business such as this, and the team here that we have and at Authority Brands certainly is able to assist in those areas. So you guys have had some, I actually love the stories, Michael. I mean, that really, I don't know, it's relatable, right? I mean, talking about this Iraq veteran that came in and he's just kicking ass after 6 months in his territory, and the others that you shared. So for anybody that is interested in learning more about 1 hour heating and air conditioning, please feel free to reach out to me at Stacie@fusionfranchising.com. Thank you and have a great day.